Hey guys, looks like it's beer 30. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews. Today we're continuing our Goliad Brewing uh, week, or whatever you want to call it. Here we're going to do their beers they sent me forward. This is the third one that they have sent out of the box. The third one out of the box, the four that they sent. This is their sweet potato pecan scotch ale. Sounds damn tasty. Uh, and these guys are out of Goliad, Texas. This is a 7.7 percenter, and it says here the IBUs are 19. Very low bitterness on this beer. Very low IBUs. And on the bottle here, it says keep refrigerated, seasonal, and the date on this is 10/24/16. And today's the 25th of March, so it's 5 months old. So hopefully there's no coffee that's going to fade, and there's not a lot of hops that's going to fade, so maybe this one will sell her well. And it's a 7.7% or two on top of that, so we'll see what it ends up being here, guys. Commercial description on this one says a deep, rich, malty essence that rises from the mahogany depths with a tantalizing hints of pie spices. So that means it's probably going to have some nutmeg, ginger, cinnamon, allspice, those pumpkin pie spices basically. The body exudes moderate alcohol warming esters surrounding a caramel malt center that bonds with a sweet potato producing a candy jam center while the pecan emerges and blossoms through the finish. The description sounds damn tasty. I'm hoping this is going to be a damn tasty beer. So a little on the heavier side, being a 7.7, where the other two were 5.2 and 4.2 respectively. So maybe this one will have enough taste for this guy. The other two were a little lacking for me, where my palate is right now. So maybe this one won't be a transitional lawnmower beer. So let's see what we end up with on this. That's all we need to talk about, so let me get the cap off and tell you the cheeses are buttery brie, Gouda, Havarti, Swiss. The meat is smoked meat and salmon. Glass water pint Bacchanalic tumbler, snifter, tulip. I got my favorite snifter glass today, guys. And it says here can be sold for long periods of time. Very brown and murky coming out of the bottle. Looks a lot like a barley wine pouring it. Not much head on that pour. Over to the light, it's very cloudy, guys. I see a little bit of light through the thin part down here on the bottom of the glass. Otherwise, kind of brown and cloudy. Let's get a nose to it. A little bit of pie spices in there. It's not, it's no pumpkin pie by any means. Maybe a slight hint of some cinnamon or some ginger in there. Doesn't have a big barley wine-ass back end or anything. And a little bit of butterscotch. Or sometimes I say butterscotch, buttery. Well, let's dive in and see what we got. Cheers, guys. Big buttery notes. Cinnamon, ginger, allspice. more of the pie notes in the taste than on the aroma to me. But it's right out of the fridge. A lot of times those will open up as it warms up. It does have a big butterscotch buttery taste to it though. Non-typical for a standard Scotch ale. Maybe some hints of some caramel and toffee in there. But it does have a heavy buttery taste. Or butterscotch taste. And sometimes that tends to say that, you know, there may be some infection or sanitation issue, but maybe that's what they were shooting for on this beer, to have some of that buttery taste. And it does have a strong, like butterscotch candy taste to it. So, well, let me sip on it for a little bit and see what we end up with. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left in here. Just a little too heavy on the buttery butterscotch notes to me, guys. Like, got a little diacetyl going on with this beer. And that's a standard process from the brewing process, but sometimes it's an unwanted flavor in beer. And let's say we're shooting for the, you know, the buttery pecan flavor like a lot of the pies would have. It's an off flavor most people or most brewers don't want in their beers. So maybe that's what they were shooting for on this. And to me, a lot of people love the pumpkin when it comes out. But to me, it's got such a heavy buttery butterscotch flavor. It tastes like it's way over the top with diacetyl. This one has a little heavy diacetyl taste to me too. A little bit too much for my taste. I don't like that super heavy butterscotch taste. If you're going for the pumpkin pie, just leave it with the cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and allspice, and leave the butteriness out of it. I can do without that. So, I'm not a fan of this particular beer because it's got so much butterscotch going on with it, or diacetyl. And now it smells straight up like butterscotch. Final chug. Yeah, a little too heavy in the butterscotch for my taste. Yeah, I ain't gonna leave that. But it's a little too buttery butterscotch, which leads me to think the diacetyl is a little too heavy in this. But that may be where they were shooting for. Maybe they want that ginger allspice buttery taste like you would get from a homemade pecan pie or something like that. Didn't blow my hair back on this, and I'm not a big fan of that butterscotch taste. So, to me, guys, it's about where I would put the last two that I've had from these guys. I'm gonna give it a B minus. 80 is where I would put this beer. Probably not something I would pick up again unless I knew it didn't have that butterscotch taste going on with it. Not a big fan of it, like I said. So let's run over to Beer Advocate. And Beer Advocate has no score. Not enough people have commented on this beer. So finding out a lot from this brewery. They must be very small. And over to Rate Beer, same deal, no score. And our final check-in, we'll run over to Untapped. Untapped has it at 3.54, which is their B range. So that's where it ended up. It's a B beer basically, guys. And because it has so much butterscotch taste, I dropped it to B minus. But it does have a date on it. They do put a bottling date on. So thumbs up to those guys for at least putting a bottled on date, not an enjoyed by date, used by whatever by date, or no date at all. They are at least dating it. So if you've had this one from Goliad Brewing, that's their sweet potato pecan Scotch ale. Didn't remind me too much of a Scotch ale, to be honest, or a wheat heavy. Just a little bit too much going on with the buttery butterscotch taste for my taste. I didn't like it. So, but I do appreciate them sending it to me. Let me give it a try. So, all right, guys, come on back tomorrow. Let's see what's in the fridge. If you've had this one, let me know. I'll see everybody then.